Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Tech Blueprint podcast, episode 5. This week, I'm joined by Donal O'Mahony, a product and design leader who's worked with some of the most exciting Irish and global tech companies, from early stage startups to fast scaling giants. Look, we covered quite a lot in this one, from how teams build great products to how AI is changing the way we think about design and user experience. Donal's perspective is a rare one because he hasn't just watched the industry evolve, he's been helping to shape it for the last 2 decades. Hey, Donal, good afternoon. How's things? Thanks very much for joining me today.
Yeah, good. Things are good. Great to talk to you, Jack. Looking forward to this.
Good man. So look, happy to just sort of jump into question one. So look, Donal, for anyone who doesn't know you, could you give us a bit of a sort of overview of your journey so far? How did you go from working with Irish startups to leading product and design for some global tech companies?
I can't give the full story. It's too weird and tangential, but really, I studied a business degree, is the origin story, but then knew I was also a creative. So I actually got into music for a couple of years after that
Okay.
degree. Self-managed, set up, labels, all that kind of stuff. So that was a huge experience for me from the creative perspective, or a builder or a creator, as it's called now. But it wasn't going to pay the bills. It wasn't going to pay the mortgage. And as much as I loved it, I actually discovered around the .com era that a lot of those skills were really transferable as well to audio, video, design, etc. Same side of the brain. So kind of soon after that, I found myself working in various agencies. Worked on the Francis Bacon installation where the whole studio was moved over, and touchscreens way before the iPhone. So that was kind of an eye opener for me. But where I got to now probably really started working in a company called H&H,
Okay.
which is the ridiculously and beautifully named Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, which was these reverse takeovers from kind of an Irish visionary at the time that set up Riverdeep, and did these reverse takeovers when money was freely available and pretty highly leveraged, and bought all these American publishers. But I had young children at the time, and working in ed tech was incredible. I really got into user testing, customer centricity, universal design, all that good stuff, and ultimately went into the path of UX in H&H. And then soon after that, moved to UX. I was there for quite a few years, but when I moved and built a team in UX, I was approached by a company called Fleetmatics, and they caught my eye during the recession as a company that was growing massively and hiring in Tala with a brilliant founder or co-founder. I saw that on the news when business stories used to be on the news. Why doesn't that happen anymore in Ireland? But that's another topic. And that was a great recruitment drive. So when they approached me, I saw the opportunity to transform, to be more user-centered and transform the design of the product. And within my second year, I think Verizon acquired that company for like 2.5 billion, which is, or more actually, maybe 2.8. And that became Verizon Connect. And I built a huge team there, a global team, New Zealand, America, Ireland. And I learned so much. And I'm still in contact with the team still there, and people who've moved on. I was just talking to one of them this morning. And then after that, I was approached by a company called Contentful, which like a world leader in headless content management systems. What caught my eye is they were API first. And also generative AI just exploded around the same time. Nothing to do with me, but it exploded on the scene the same time I joined. So generative AI creating content. You join a content management company, it's going to be interesting and exciting. So I worked with them for 3 years as well. And I'm just starting a new role in a company called Canto, which IDA have just started a new innovation hub in Cork.
Awesome.
You look at my surname, I've got relatives in Cork. So the O'Mahonys, as they say there, are Cork Kerry tribes. So yeah, just a real Irish connection. And I love scale-ups, I love startups. And yes, we're in the year of scale down as well, but it's all good.
Perfect. Thanks for the run through. That's excellent. Well, like you said, you've worked with some incredible Irish and US startups, sort of Riverdeep, Fleetmatics, Contentful, Canto now coming soon. From a product and like design perspective, what do the best scale ups get right when it comes to like building and shipping great products at speed?
It sounds glib, but putting the customer at the center of everything from day one. if you don't do that, that is the worst kind of tech debt. That is the worst kind of UX debt or design debt. It's more fundamental than that. It's a strategic debt. So all of the great startups put design, and design is very close to customer happiness, user experience. They put that at the center from the very start. They may not have had a designer leading them. They may not have had an early designer hired, but I guarantee you one of the founders was very, very close to or intuitive or respectful of the importance of a great craft in design, a great user experience, and talking to their customers. Dare I say, designing with their first customers really closely, getting on planes, flying over, watching how they use it. Those founders, they're the companies that became absolutely massive. And actually, another thing that makes great success is if they felt the same pain. That's the customer problem space. And again, that could be what became a CTO or a CEO. But if they felt the origin story, felt the pain themselves, they'll never forget that. And they bring that into every boardroom, into every chat over a coffee, every Christmas party. They live and breathe the customer's pain as well because they felt it too. So yeah, flying the flag of design. AI is, accelerating design, accelerating prototyping, accelerating coding. But my God, we are in a tidal wave now of unpicking vibe coding that is a million miles away from customer problems.
Yeah.
And that's what I predict. And I think we can talk about it later, but I think staying really close to the customer and their problems is more relevant now that the velocity of churning out code is just going exponential. If you churn out code for no reason and not solving a customer problem, not listening and talking to them, it's not going to.
There's no point.
There's no point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're right. Look, we've got a couple of AI questions for you, but before we get on to that, you have built and led design teams in, like you said, high growth environments. How has the role of design evolved in your experience so far, from something that's like just something visual to I suppose like something that's like deeply strategic in terms of how products would succeed?
I think a lot of people, certainly in my neck of the woods, in my functional area, they always start by talking about what's changed in other people's perceptions, but that's totally the wrong approach. What I would recommend is the mindset is what's changed in design. And now I think the great leaders, the great ICs or individual contributors, the great newcomers to the industry are coming, not just curious about the technical constraints, the architecture, the competitors, they're living and breathing it. And tools like Cursor or Claude, which I believe are going to just morph into this incredible tool set now for the whole triad or quad. But I think designers are now becoming really well versed in, the really good ones are becoming well versed in like the tech debt, the architecture, what's possible, what's not, and pushing the dream a bit further, but pragmatically understanding of what's possible and what's not. So I think our group, the user experience group, the design group, the product design, whatever it's called, and it'll be the agent design group, let's face it, in future is what we're going to become. Coming from a place of respect for the technical landscape and that understanding, instead of why won't you? Can you not just, why isn't it on the roadmap? Those days are gone, because now the collaboration is becoming so fast between engineering and design, and it's blurring beautifully and sometimes traumatically. Stuff's getting fast because designers are more respectful of the craft of engineering. And people like me, I hope, are ensuring that the understanding of the craft of design and polish and wow and delight, or whatever you call it, when you open, I always give the example, it still blows me away, when you open your AirPods for the first time out of the box, and then it opens at the same time on your iPhone, that's delight. And that's a hell of an engineering feat as well as a design feat. And of course, product and product management, big shout out. So yeah, people who are moving with the times in design and not going, oh, I want a seat at the table. I mean, that's, come on. You shouldn't be in a company if there's no seat at the table. You should select the right companies.
Definitely. So on the AI point, like you were exploring AI in product probably back in 2015. I think you'd said before probably most people were even thinking about it. So I suppose the example you'd give at the time was like the Fleetmatics like AI dashcam. What did those early experiments teach you about using AI to, I don't know, solve real world user problems?
Well, even if I go before Fleetmatics, to the tail end of Riverdeep H&H, we were working and I was having coffees and chatting with Soapbox Labs. And that was like my first, like, oh my God, and incredible Irish company, incredible Irish startup, very central to Irish AI now, in my opinion, targeting an amazing problem and user problem for children. And they were leveraging AI. And so I just want to shout out, that was actually probably the biggest wow moment for me, where I wasn't fully immersed in it, but just by osmosis, I was like, wow, this is exciting. This is the future. And frankly, this is Irish. And then Fleetmatics, within the first year, maybe second year, I found myself and the team involved in a hackathon. And the team in Florence there, Firenze, they are data scientists. They are machine learning, AI experts, phenomenal team. And that hackathon at that time had an entry around computer vision. It was called computer vision, but ultimately it became AI dashcams. And that was incredible to see the potential for me to get that education from thinkers like that. And then for our team to deeply research the pros and cons of it, the trust for those fleet managers of their vehicles, the excitement around, my God, this could be predictive, this could be preventative, it could be saving lives. Like, what a thing. I thought EdTech was amazing, helping children learn and helping education. But now this is environmental, it's EVs, it's saving lives, frankly. And that was a light bulb moment for me. And yes, I guess where you're going is that hackathon led to a product that's just grown so successfully and has had such an impact, in my opinion, humble opinion, on the world. I don't work there anymore. What a great mission, what a great purpose. But what the research team, the design team, the products and engineers learned there was all around what the world's going through now, around trust, around feedback, around human in the loop or augmentation. Just how much do you give? Is it static dashboards? Is it agentic, tailored, personalized information on your fleet, how people are performing, coaching opportunities? All of that was went gangbusters after that AI moment with that team. So yeah, it was kind of mind blowing, to be honest, and readied me then for what happened in Contentful with ChatGPT. Launched around the same time that I joined that company.
Yeah. Awesome. So now that AI is everywhere, there's obviously, like you've mentioned, a lot of crossover between product, between design, between engineering, more so than ever, probably. You've spoken, I think, before. I know you'd shared a video actually about the tension that can create. How do you think teams can, I suppose, keep collaboration healthy without sort of losing clarity of each other's roles?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. I don't have a vanilla question because, look, I know my answer could, piss some people off because like, you're joking me. Like, oh yeah, we all get along and we all collaborate, but like, I've designer here saying this, and they're well below the line. If above the line, stop seeing everything as a threat. But the folks that are below the line, they're like, but my PM has just come up with a new vibe-coded concept that, I thought was my job. And so I understand some teams are still trying to figure that out. Yeah. But that's fundamentally a problem of culture and trust that transcends AI. It's a deeper, I do some coaching, I do some mentoring, and that's a people problem. That's a culture problem. It's a trust problem. That really you'll have to address anyway, regardless of this. It's just surfacing it more, if that makes sense, AI. So, so yes, there's a little bit of whiplash. There's a little bit of finger pointing going on, but the really good teams, the really well-led teams are surfacing some of those insecurities. They're talking through them. And then they're starting small with little experiments of anyone wearing anyone's hat, collaborating, a very fluid role across it. And this, again, is putting a partnership emphasis between, in the old world, I guess, of product management. I think all these roles are going to blur and are already blurring. Product management to engineer to designer, research in the mix to some extent as well. They're now kind of sharing a lot of these roles. I think that where it's coming down to now is documentation is less so, thank God. I remember the founder or co-founder of Fleetmatics was asked once, did you ever read any of those business analyst documents in the old days, the HLRs or high level requirement documents? And he said, I never read them. I weighed them, like the weight of them. So that era of heavy, thick documentation is still there, but it's hidden in Google Docs or in
Yeah.
Confluence or whatever. So I think there's a relief that the heavy documentation era is gone or going. And then the speed to really just concepting the roadmap or concepting even pre-roadmap. What I love getting hands-on is that, but also hands-on on the concepts, the North Stars, etc. And that can be done with an engineer, with a product manager, by an engineer, product manager, or a designer. And let's just review it. Mm-hmm. So it needs a lot of trust, but it is definitely pushing and putting the design role into a much more strategic role. And some are embracing it, some are relishing it, and then almost excited or terrified when it gets away from you and some of these concepts are being taken and shown to the board or taken and shown to the CEO. And for once, the designers are going, whoa, hang on, cool your jets here. This is just an idea for the team. But it shows the promise of finally the North Star, the vision, the strategy in the product and engineering group just getting faster. And crucially, everyone congregating around the testing of that, not in a usertesting.com or Dovetail isolated area, but in the live product, in the wild. That's really exciting, of designers, again, being able to ship front-end code more quickly. So yeah, everyone just relax, trust, and don't be territorial.
100%. That was one thing I was going to say. I know you said before, everyone's sort of freaking out about AI. Everyone needs to sort of just relax and enjoy the ride. What do you think product and design leaders should be focusing on right now to actually, I don't know, enjoy that ride, as you mentioned?
Okay, kind of back to basics is a really good sign is where, as you say, the product design leaders, frankly, all the leaders in the company, be using these tools. Mm-hmm. Don't get overwhelmed. I just posted on LinkedIn about the overwhelm at the moment that I feel. Frankly, I'm kind of very vulnerable like that, where I share honestly what's all, not Kool-Aid. But it's a really good sign when leaders are getting more hands-on in a trusting way on these AI tools, not subverting or undermining the team members, but again, much closer to the work. And they have to be doing that using these tools. Like I've lost multiple nights on a passion project in Cursor and Claude in the past 2 months, like multiple nights. It reminds me of when I used to mix music. You'd finish, you'd lay down a track, and then you're like, right, it's 10 o'clock. I'll just do a mix here for an hour. And the next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. So that's exciting, but it's also a warning sign. But if the leaders of the company are not using tools, whether it's Granola or Claude or Lovable or whatever, for fun, that's the key word, for fun, and out of curiosity, that's a little bit of a concern. And then if they are, they're very, very understanding then of the highs and lows of using these tools, and they'll relate more to the engineering group's fear that everyone's just throwing a whole lot of code at stuff and hoping it sticks. So there's an understanding that will come in the more that the leadership group, and I mean that from management, senior management, that the whole world is now shifting, that those folks are becoming much more closer to being the practitioner as well. Practitioner of what? Using these tools. I could talk for another half hour on how all the basics still can't be thrown out with the bathwater, which is where you kind of started on customer centricity, talking to customers, going after their customer problems, and then visionary, founder like visionary as well, sometimes having to go, no, I know they want that, and this is that, but this is another step or two beyond that. We have to be first mover on this. We have to be visionary. So those things are still universal from tech and before tech as well. So yeah, definitely. Jesus, I'm rambling now, but
no, you're fine. You said earlier on, look, obviously you recently qualified as a coach and a mentor. That sounds awesome, to be fair. I think you'd also said like you sort of for you anyway, you're wanting to give back to like the Irish startup scene. How do you see your role evolving, and where do you think Ireland's biggest opportunities lie in, I suppose, like global product and design innovation as such?
Well, I guess for my role, I always bring that coaching, I hope, and mentoring methodology to the teams that I work with. So I think I do that well, and I'm very proud of that. So, others can confirm that or not. But to your point of wanting to give back more, I did after the dot-com bubble burst. I was made redundant twice, I think, maybe even three times. It was carnage, but I kept going, and I recommend to everyone who's going through a tough time at the moment, keep going. Those who really shouldn't be in the industry will drop out and they'll find another gig. But I kept going. But I went into lecturing and teaching in third level for 2 years, but still in the area. And when I came out, there was very, very few practitioners left after dot-com bubble cleared the house. So, but I love that time teaching, to answer your question, and giving back to teaching. I actually live down the road now in Dunleary from the college I taught in.
Awesome.
And I taught in Trinity as well. So that's amazing. And my father worked in IBM, but then went in the 60s. So that's the Irish heritage of the connection with these US companies. Like, we have such an advantage, regardless of what's happening with tariffs or all of that. Our connection culturally and our cuteness when it comes to politics. We've learned how not to talk about politics, and that comes in pretty handy these days. So all of that, I love giving back and sharing that. Third level, sure, but I would rather do like this, like these podcasts, and with startups. That's where I believe I add the most value, and I want to give back. I want to do a shout out just totally by chance. If anyone listens to the David McWilliams podcast, he's just done, totally bizarrely, because I started with my music background, but he has just done an interview 2-part with Edge from U2.
Okay.
And he is, I think, the chair, if not the chair, he's a senior leader on Endeavor, which you might know, but obviously in the kind of venture capital, startup, etc. It's huge globally. And he's one of the people leading it for Ireland. And they, in that podcast, are talking about the opportunity for Ireland to really, really start to grow the tech industry here with the amount of seasoned and also young talent in this country for the next chapter, because we know things have changed. The partnership, as I said, globally, I'm a fan of it. Like Contentful, German startup, working with the States, building a team in Ireland. And the previous ones, Irish startups, huge success stories, Riverdeep and Fleetmatics, but huge success in America. All of that experience is in every corner of Ireland. So everyone listen to that podcast. That is really tapping into something about creativity and the land of saints and scholars, right? So there's something to that happened to land, I think, just yesterday or during the week. And that's me basically. I'm farming out my answer to that podcast. There are so many folks with that talent. We got to start stepping up an inch taller and having the confidence that we really have. Our humility can hold us back, basically. And I'm done with that. We're pretty good. We're pretty good.
Must check that podcast out myself. It sounds interesting. Look, that was pretty much all I'd had for you, Donal. Obviously, just want to finish off just saying, like, super appreciative of your time. Thanks very much for hopping on. I'll be sure to make sure that I tag you and stuff whenever we get this posted, so people can connect with you if they want to ask you any questions outside of that. But thank you very much.
Great stuff, Jack. Loving the podcast. Good man.